Welcome to the live host city selection webcast for the 2016 U.S. Olympic Trials for Swimming. I'm thrilled to be with you here today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Janet Evans. I'm a three-time Olympian with 4 Olympic gold medals to my name. Joining me today is Scott Blackmun, the CEO of the United States Olympic Committee, Bruce Stratton, the president of U.S. Swimming, Chuck Wielgus, USA Swimming's executive director, and Mike Under, USA Swimming's Assistant Executive Director and the lead of the organization's 2016 Olympic Trials City Selection Committee. We'll hear from each of these gentlemen today as we make the host city announcement. As some of you may know, USA Swimming began its bid process for the Olympic Trials about a year ago. A total of 6 cities submitted a formal bid to host the trials, which is the biggest and most exciting swimming event in the country. The group is now down to 3 cities: Omaha, Nebraska, San Antonio, Texas, and St. Louis, Missouri. Held once every 4 years, the Olympic Trials help set the stage for our Olympic swim team. It's considered by some, and I know from experience, that it can be more competitive than the Olympic Games. Hundredths of a second can seal your fate or make or break an athlete's chance to compete at the Olympic Games. I competed in my first Olympic trials in 1988, and I've had the opportunity to see the event grow over the years. When the event moved to a temporary outdoor facility in Long Beach in 2004, some people had their doubts, but the vision that USA Swimming had was spot on. 4 years later, in 2008, the event was taken to even greater heights when it moved to an indoor arena in Omaha, Nebraska. The Olympic Trials was again held in Omaha in 2012, and I actually had the opportunity to compete at the event. Now, there were a lot of difference between competing at trials in 1988 at 17 years old and competing at trials at 40 years old, but it was really an incredible experience for me to see how much the event had grown and feel the energy and see the excitement that was brought to the Olympic Trials. To put some magnitude of what the Olympic Trials has grown to in perspective, in 2012, our trials were nominated as one of the 4 top sports events of the year by Sports Business Journal. Other events nominated for this prestigious industry award are the Ryder Cup, the Stanley Cup Finals, and the U.S. Formula One Grand Prix. Pretty good company. The award will be announced next month at a gala dinner in New York City, and while I might be a little bit biased, I vote that the U.S. Olympics team trials wins this award. Today, we're going to take a look at each candidate city, talk about the trials property, the evolution of the trials, the selection process, and finally make the announcement live of the winning city. Let's open with a brief highlight video of our first finalist candidate, Omaha, Nebraska. Omaha has recently hosted a number of events within the Olympic movement and annually welcomes baseball's NCAA College World Series. Now I'd like to introduce our first speaker, the CEO of the United States Olympic Committee, Scott Blackmun. Mr. Blackmun has been at the helm of the USOC since 2010. He has done an outstanding job of bringing stability to the USOC and restoring our country's stature within the international Olympic movement. He has also been a great friend to our national governing body. Mr. Scott Blackmun.
Thank you. Thanks, Janet. There is no event in the United States with more drama than our Olympic trials, and we are proud to partner with our national governing bodies in bringing these great events to cities around the country. Today we're here to talk about the 2016 U.S. Olympic trials for swimming, but I also want to note that many of our winter athletes will also be at the U.S. Olympic trials before competing on the world stage in Sochi next year at the Olympic Winter Games. These events are stepping stones to an athlete's Olympic dreams, and the fulfillment of these dreams provides inspiration to millions of Americans. Conducting the trials is one of the most important partnerships that we have with our national governing bodies. The collaboration with USA Swimming has elevated the trials to become a marquee property in the Olympic world and beyond. The 2012 event attracted its highest ever attendance with over 160,000 spectators. The TV broadcast with our partner NBC won its time slot for 8 consecutive nights in the all-important primetime programming window. It is my pleasure to support this wonderful partnership between the United States Olympic Committee and USA Swimming, and I know that the 2016 trials will be better than ever, and further evidence that the Olympic movement here in the United States is thriving.
Thank you, Scott. It's an honor to have you here today, and we're happy that you're here with us for the announcement. Up next is a highlight video of our second candidate city, San Antonio, Texas. San Antonio has recently played host to a wide variety of events ranging from NCAA championships to the Rock and Roll San Antonio Marathon. Also joining us today is Chuck Wielgus, who has served as a USA Swimming Executive Director since 1997 and has led the organization to an unprecedented period of growth and competitive success.
Thank you, Janet. We're thrilled to share our 2016 Olympic Trials city selection for the first time via this live webcast. It's extremely special to have one of our sport's greatest champions here with us today, and I want to thank Janet Evans for emceeing today's program. Thank you, Janet. I also want to thank Scott Blackmun and the U.S. Olympic Committee for being an outstanding partner with USA Swimming for the Olympic trials and for the support provided to our national team program. The Olympic trials for swimming has evolved into one of the country's major sporting events. The expansion of the trials began with a huge leap forward in 2004 when we held the event in a 10,000-seat outdoor swim stadium in Long Beach, California. In 2008 and 2012, in partnership with the city of Omaha, we extended our vision for the event so that we not only provided an incredible competition experience for our athletes and their coaches, but we also put equal effort into ensuring that spectators and the media were treated to world-class activities and services. We can now count on selling more than 160,000 tickets to the event and are assured of 8 nights of primetime television coverage with our broadcast partner, NBC. Last year in Omaha, we qualified 49 swimmers for the U.S. Olympic team, and this extraordinary group of athletes won 31 medals for Team USA in London. The Olympic Trials is our sport's signature event, and in achieving this status, the event has secured an important spot on the American sports calendar. In announcing the 2016 host city today, We will be lighting the fuse for literally hundreds of thousands of young swimmers who will be setting their sights on qualifying to participate in the greatest swimming event in the world next to the Olympic Games. USA Swimming is on a continual quest to grow grassroots participation, promote the sport, and achieve sustained success at the Olympic Games. This announcement today is a beacon towards which everyone in our sport will be pointing over the next 3 years. And the clarity of what this event means will lead, I believe, to outstanding medal-winning performances by American swimmers at the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro.
Thank you, Chuck. It's great to have you here today, and your vision for this event has been truly extraordinary. Now for the final video that will highlight our third candidate city, St. Louis, Missouri. In recent years, St. Louis has welcomed Olympic trials and national championships for a number of our fellow U.S. national governing bodies and has hosted several major NCAA championships. Our next speaker is Mike Unger, USA Swimming's Assistant Executive Director. Mike has been an integral part of Olympic trials since 1996 and was the lead for the 2016 selection committee. He'll share with us some details on the selection process before we make the final announcement.
Thanks, Janet. We began the process to find a city for the 2016 Olympic trials with three main goals in mind. First, we wanted to run a technically flawless trials. Second, a great show. And third, we wanted the event to be financially successful for both the host city and for USA Swimming. We started with a meeting in Colorado Springs about 1 year ago with 16 interested cities in attendance. All of those cities were then invited to the Olympic trials, 2012 Olympic trials, and to tour the venue, watch the competition, and get a behind-the-scenes look at the event. USA Swimming next issued an RFP, a request for proposal, in September and asked all interested cities to submit their bids by December of 2012. We were ecstatic to receive 6 quality bids from Greensboro, Indianapolis, Jacksonville, Omaha, San Antonio, and St. Louis. A small review group was formed, made up of staff members who worked most closely on the trials property, along with Jim Wood, the immediate past president of USA Swimming. Jim has actually worked on the last 4 Olympic trials site selections, dating back to 2001, when the Long Beach site was chosen. Our review group made site visits to 5 of those cities that bid and used a checklist of over 75 items to help evaluate each of the cities and their bids. Some of the key items we examined were budgets, venues, hotels, what's best for athletes and coaches, the city interest, the ability for us to grow the sport, potential spectator interest, and a host of other key areas. As the process moved along, we worked with each city on follow-up questions and contracts in order to ensure that each city was willing to meet the requirements set forth by the U.S. Olympic Committee, our television partner NBC, and by USA Swimming. About 10 days ago, our review group made a recommendation to Chuck Wilgus on the site for the 2016 Olympic trials. We also work with the U.S. Olympic Committee to get its approval on the final 3 cities. Earlier today, the USA Swimming Board of Directors accepted that recommendation, which we will announce in a moment. Finally, I'd like to add a sincere thank you to each of the cities and sports commissions with which we worked. The professionalism, creativity, and thoroughness that each of you showed was truly incredible. Each of the cities should be extraordinarily proud of the work it did, and I'm quite certain that any of the cities would have been a worthy site for the 2016 Olympic trials. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Now, what we have all been waiting for, to make the announcement of the host city for the 2016 U.S. Olympic Trials for Swimming is USA Swimming President Bruce Stratton, who has served in this role since 2010 after working as a longtime official and selfless leader within the organization. Bruce leads the USA Swimming Board of Directors, which approved the site selection earlier today at its board's meetings. Bruce?
Thank you, Janet. We have all experienced what a great event the U.S. Olympic Trials has become. The fan attendance, TV ratings, industry awards, and AquaZone fan experience all take this beyond a swim meet and have made this a great event. While those are all important elements, the ultimate goal of the trials is to pick the best U.S. Olympic team possible. As an organization, we never lose sight of that #1 goal. As Mike Unger explained, our selection process has narrowed the field down to 3 first-class cities to host the trials. The people of Omaha, St. Louis, and San Antonio should all be very proud of their respective sports commissions. They represented your cities professionally and with great class. It has left us with one of the toughest decisions to make in awarding the trials to one city. Today, I have the privilege of announcing the winning city. I am honored to announce that the host for the 2016 U.S. Olympic Trials for Swimming is the city of Omaha.
Congratulations to the city of Omaha. Before we conclude, I have some brief questions for Mike Unger. If you'd come up, Mike, please. Okay, we're going to share the mic. Okay, Mike. Why was Omaha awarded the 2016 Olympic Trials?
Well, all 3 cities, Janet, did a great job, and actually all the cities, even more than just the 3, did a great job. But it came down to that the setup in Omaha for the athletes and coaches was just the best of all those final candidate cities.
Yeah, they do an incredible job. So has a date been set for the event? We're all kind of wondering.
Well, the date for the trials has not been set. Well, we have a date in mind, but we're trying to run those dates through all of the proper channels with the U.S. Olympic Committee, with NBC, with our International Federation, FINA, and then make sure that the dates fit. But we're looking at an early July date. Okay.
And when can we expect to see time standards? Not that I'm interested in swimming again, but I just want to know. I just want to know where we're going to see time standards.
I think there's an ulterior motive there, but
no.
Time standards. We're working with Frank Bush, the national team director, and we're probably going to have those ready sometime in the middle to latter part of 2014. Okay. So we're looking at maybe a year and a half or so from now.
Okay, good. And where can we find more information about trials?
Well, that's an easy one. usaswimming.org. There's a trials tab there. You can find all the information, including hotel information as well.
So this will be Omaha's 3rd, venture into the Olympic trials. What is U.S. Swimming going to do to make it even more exciting and even better?
Well, that's a big challenge, and that's something we want to. We've got a lot of ideas. We think we did a good job in 2008 and 2012. I think our efforts in 2016 need to be ramped up. We already have a few surprises. We're not sharing those surprises yet, but I think the spectators and athletes and coaches and volunteers that are there are going to be impressed.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mike. Thanks for your hard work on all of this.
Great. Thank you.
So there we have it. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us on the webcast today, for the board members for being here, and we look forward to seeing you all in Omaha. Thank you very much.